It's the days leading up to a Grand Prix in 1990, and you know what that means? It's time for pre-qualifying, aka backmarker brawl. To ensure your place on the grid, you must partake in a Grand Prix Royal Rumble to see who can earn the right to run around at the back on Sunday. First up, Monteverde Onyx, fight!
To be honest, I'm just not really feeling it this weekend.
You what?
Yeah, my bank account's hurting. I think I might just get an early night and, maybe, I don't know, pull out of Formula 1 forever?
Okay then, have it your way. Next up, Life Racing Engines.
Oh, but my electronics hurt.
Oh, not you as well.
Oh, fine. Did I do it?
Well, that depends on how much everyone else sucks now, doesn't it? Up next, Eurobrun. A 3, a 2, a 3, 2, 1.
We're the Eurobrun twins and we never get in. Our cars belong in the rubbish bin.
Next up, it's Automobiles Gonfaraneses Sportives.
Just call us AGS. It won't matter anyway. We are too busy being a French to qualify.
Next up, Coloni.
This car makes me want to tear gas someone!
Next up, Ligier.
Wait, I didn't think we had to pre-qualify anymore since Onyx pulled out.
You don't, but you still have to get through the main qualifying session. It shouldn't be too hard though, you've been on the pace for most of the year already.
What? Well, now I'm not doing it.
I guess I'll go on without you then.
Oh please, does anyone not suck around here? Wait, who is this? Olivier Griard for Arcella? The starting order for the 1990 Belgian Grand Prix was pretty typical, with Senna leading an all-McLaren front row and then Prost doing his best to hold on to them in third. The only thing that really did stand out about the front row of the grid was how absolutely dominant Senna's time was, beating Berger's by nearly 0.6 of a second. Home hero Thierry Boutsen was fourth on the grid, coming off the back of a win at the Hungarian Grand Prix, where he'd fought with and beaten Senna in a straight fight. He would surely have been at the peak of his popularity here, but at almost a second behind Prost's time, he had a lot of work to do. Fifth on the grid was the second Ferrari of Nigel Mansell, sixth was a strong showing from the lead Benetton of Alessandro Nannini, and the rest of the grid was also pretty standard, with no major surprises. On this occasion, the drama would be saved for the start. When the race got underway, our view was spoiled by a horrible bit of TV direction, and then there was chaos as 26 cars tried to fit into one tight hairpin. Piquet locked up and hit Mansell, Martin Donnelly hit the wall and then his teammate, and it was clear what corner had been la source of all their problems. Piquet and Aguri Suzuki pulled off to the right, Nicola Larini pulled off to the left for some reason, and I don't even know how Emanuele Pirro ended up spinning across the track because he started from the pit lane. Amazingly, it wasn't even over then, as Satoru Nakajima and Stefano Modena came together at Le Com. Absolute carnage. Everyone was okay, but the race was red flagged, and everyone was able to take the restart except for Donnelly and Suzuki, even though I can't quite figure out how the latter was even involved in the melee. When the race got underway again, it was once again Senna who took the lead, but Berger didn't get away well and Boutsen got through to second. Did you see how Prost had to swerve to avoid the McLaren there? Behind them it was very tight for the whole field, but I didn't see any decisive contact, so I can't add anything to the crunch count. One thing I can add to the crunch count though is this collision between Martini and De Cesaris, but none of this would end up mattering as Paolo Barilla crashed heavily at Raidillon and brought out the red flag yet again. Luckily, the Minardi driver was able to walk away from this crash, although this would be the last time he'd be seen in a Grand Prix, as he would fail to qualify for the next 3 races, and then be replaced by Gianni Morbidelli. Paolo then went on to focus on a career in business, but my favourite fact about him is that according to Wikipedia, he is apparently the president of the International Pasta Organisation, dedicated to increasing consumption and awareness of pasta. Now that's a cause I can get on board with. When the race got underway again, it was once again Senna who took the advantage, but this time Berger was able to keep up. Senna locked his front brakes, but got away with it and maintained the lead. Once again, I can't spot any contact into La Source, and luckily the rest of the lap was much the same, so we do actually have a start this time, yippee. By the way, take a look at that yellow Lotus making a move at the top of Raidillon. That's Martin Donnelly, who wasn't able to take the second start, but the red flag allowed Lotus to repair his teammate's car and get him out in it for the restart. To recap, that means Lotus now have Donnelly in Warwick's car and Warwick in the spare car. Confused? At the end of the first lap, the order was Senna leading from Berger, Prost, Boutsen and Patrese. Unfortunately, it wasn't long before the first retirement of the third start, and it was Satoru Nakajima, which was a shame considering how well Tyrrell had done in qualifying, with 9th and 10th places on the grid. Also out of the race early was Emanuele Pirro with a water leak. I would say water shame, but we're in Belgium, so I guess it's more like oh dear. Back to the race, here's Prost lining up Berger for a move, but we're not going to get to see it, because once again the TV direction did its best not to show any action. When the camera eventually changed back, it was clear that Prost had been successful, and so it was old rivals Senna and Prost in first and second positions. Also, look at Boutsen now, he's been brought right into the fold. Could we have a surprise brewing for the home hero? Here's the Kemmel straight on the same lap, and they're side by side now, but Berger had the slipstream from Prost and so just stayed in third position. Boutsen had to settle in behind. So with Berger under pressure from Boutsen, he decided to make a pit stop for tyres, something you didn't actually have to do at the time, but which many teams elected to do anyway. It's ironic that Gerhard was the first to pit though. Normally when other people pull into a drive-through lane, it is indeed to collect a burger. Here's another stop, but unfortunately not a scheduled one. That's Riccardo Patrese retiring from 5th place with a gearbox issue, and just one lap later Mansell retired for the second time that day. The Benettons of Nannini and Piquet were now up to 4th and 5th places, but both were being caught fast by Berger on his fresh tyres. On lap 22, Belgian hearts sank as Thierry Boutsen retired from the race, his transmission refusing to transmit. This race had been his best chance of scoring a podium finish at home, which he would unfortunately never get to do. Admittedly, he had stood on the podium here in 1988 behind the all-dominant McLarens, but his car was later disqualified for using irregular fuel, so it didn't matter. On this occasion, however, he would only make it to halfway through the race, the first of 3 retirements he would suffer in a row.
And there's Boutsen just undressing.
Ooh la la. When Senna and Prost pitted for tyres, they both chose the same lap, making it a straight race between their mechanics. Senna came out comfortably in front, but he had Nannini right in his tail. Nannini ducked right, left and right again, trying to take the lead, but Senna held firm and extended his gap to Prost in the process. By the way, hats off to Olivier Griard for his avoiding action as Senna came out of the pits. He clearly saw the McLaren, saw Nannini darting around behind, and thought, nope, I'm no part of this. As you can imagine though, Nannini's time in the spotlight was fleeting, and before long Prost had caught and passed him for second. The order was once again Senna leading from Prost, and then Nannini and Berger, and Mauricio Gugelmin was up to 5th place thanks to Piquet pitting. In all honesty, most of the racing in this Grand Prix so far had been pretty straightforward, but one man determined to change that was Alessandro Nannini. Here he is coming under pressure from Gerhard Berger, and despite having a much inferior car on much older tyres, he still felt that he had a chance of holding on to 3rd position. Berger initially got through on the straight, but with the help of a slipstream from Alex Caffey's arrows, Nannini was able to get back up the inside and launch a move into Lecombe. Berger turned in, but opened up the steering just in time to avoid a crash, and the 2 cars rubbed wheels all the way through the chicane. Brilliant racing! And the best part of all of it is that somehow Nannini held on to the position. I really believe that pretty much any other driver would have let that one go, knowing that Berger would almost definitely make the move one way or the other, but Alessandro was a true racer. However, watch Nannini now, through a Rouge, up Raidillon, and whoa, a massive snap and a great save! He very nearly ended up in the barriers in a Barilla-style accident. Unfortunately, this forced him to get out of the throttle and lose 3rd place to Berger just 3 laps from the end, and it won't surprise you to learn that he dropped well back after that. Even so, a round of applause for Nannini. What a spirited drive this was to do the whole race without pitting and very nearly get a podium from it. In the end though, it was Ayrton Senna who came through to take his 5th win of the season and his 3rd Belgian Grand Prix in a row. He backed off slightly in the last few laps, so when Alain Prost came through for 2nd, the gap was just 3.6 seconds. 3rd was Berger, 4th was Nannini, 5th was Piquet, who had passed Gugelmin off screen, and 6th was Gugelmin of course, who had also done the whole race without pitting. Completing the top 10 were Ivan Capelli, Jean Alesi, Eric Bernard and Alex Caffey, and 17 cars were classified in total. Quite a lot for those days. Guys, before I give this race a score, I want to let you know that I have a Daily Motion channel where I upload all the videos that get taken down from YouTube by the pesky FOM bots. While I accept that FOM owns the rights to the race footage I use, I believe that all of my videos fall under fair use due to the high levels of parody, commentary and review, and I always encourage people to watch Formula 1 live in order to better appreciate this great sport. Sadly, this isn't always enough. I also occasionally stream on Twitch, where you can chat to me live, so I've included the links to both my Dailymotion and my Twitch channel in the description of this video. Thank you. I gave the Grand Prix a 6.3 out of 10 overall, as I found the starts and the finish exciting, but not much happened in the middle, at least up until the pit stops. I gave the Driver of the Day award for Best Driver to Ayrton Senna for leading every lap of the race and winning in true Ayrton Senna fashion. It was nearly a Grand Chelem, although Alain Prost narrowly snatched the fastest lap with a race lap record. I gave the Inouye Trophy for Worst Driver to Nelson Piquet, because even though he scored points, he also hit Mansell at the start, finished half a minute behind his teammate, and plus, he's Nelson Piquet. Drive safely guys, and I'll see you next time.